permanently settled higher, and why it won't return to 2019 levels. Picture this. It's the spring of 2019. You're Alex, a 38-year-old software engineer living in a quiet suburb outside Austin, Texas. Every Saturday morning, you grab your reusable bags, load your 2 kids into the car, and head to the local H-E-B. The cart fills quickly with the usual: a gallon of whole milk, $3.29, a dozen eggs, $1.89, boneless chicken thighs, $2.49 per pound, a loaf of whole grain bread, $2.99, romaine lettuce, tomatoes, bananas, a box of Cheerios for the kids, and a few other staples. Total at checkout, $185. You swipe your card, shrug, and move on. It's just groceries, predictable, almost invisible. Fast forward to March 2026, same store, same mental list, though you've already cut back. The receipt now reads $258. You stand there for a second, doing the quick math in your head. You switched to store-brand milk and cereal months ago. You buy chicken only when it's on sale. You've stopped getting organic produce and now choose whatever looks cheapest in the bin. Still $258. The initial frustration has faded into something quieter: acceptance. This is no longer a temporary spike. This is the new floor, the hard truth in 2026. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, February 2026 data, food at home prices are up 2.4% year over year. Modest, almost normal. The USDA's latest forecast projects grocery prices to rise another 2.5% across 2026, slightly below the 20-year historical average of 2.6%. Inflation has cooled dramatically since the 11% plus peaks of 2022. Egg prices have crashed from their avian flu highs. Supply chains are no longer in chaos, and yet the same basket of goods that cost $185 in early 2019 now reliably costs $255 to $270. That's a cumulative increase of roughly 25 to 30% over 7 years, far outpacing overall inflation during the same period. The old normal is gone. The elevated level we see today is the new permanent baseline. 5 structural forces that locked in the higher price floor. The dollar was diluted permanently. Between 2020 and 2022, the Federal Reserve expanded the money supply by trillions of dollars, but liquidity did not disappear when stimulus checks stopped. It flowed into wages, long-term supplier contracts, commercial rents, and input costs everywhere. Once the nominal price level ratchets up that far, bringing it back down requires deflation, a policy no central bank wants to engineer because of the recessionary pain it causes. Example: in 2019, a $100 grocery run bought you roughly 100 units of food value. Today, the same $100 buys only about 75 to 80 units. The currency itself has less purchasing power for essentials, and that change is structural. Energy and fertilizer now live on a permanently higher floor. Modern agriculture is an energy business. Nitrogen fertilizer comes from natural gas via the Haber-Bosch process. Tractors and trucks run on diesel. Refrigerated trucks and warehouse cooling use electricity. Plastic packaging is petroleum-derived. The ultra-low energy prices of 2015 to 2020 are history. Shale basins are maturing, post-pandemic upstream investment lagged, and Asian demand keeps rising. Add lingering tariffs on imported fertilizers and feed grains, and the cost base for every calorie is structurally higher. Real-world example: a farmer in Iowa who paid $400 per ton for ammonia fertilizer in 2019 now pays closer to $700 to $900, even after the 2022 spike eased. That extra $300 to $500 per ton flows straight into corn, soy, and ultimately meat and dairy prices. Consolidation gives a handful of companies lasting pricing power. 4 firms control roughly 85% of U.S. beef processing, 70% of pork, and 60% of broiler chicken. A similar concentration exists in grocery retail and distribution. When input costs rise, these players pass them on immediately. When costs fall, as many did in 2024 to 2025, they tend to hold prices and widen margins. This is not secret collusion. It's rational, legal, tacit coordination. Illustration: in 2023, major meat processors posted record operating margins even as cattle supplies normalized. Retail beef prices did not fall proportionally. The savings stayed with the companies, not the shopper. Labor costs rose sharply and became sticky. Meatpacking plants, warehouses, trucking, and store stocking are still human jobs. Post-COVID shortages, higher minimum wages, and worker demands for better conditions drove wages up 20 to 30% in many food sector roles between 2019 and 2023. Those increases did not reverse. Workers resist pay cuts far more fiercely than they celebrate foregone raises, so employers treat the new wage level as permanent. Concrete example. The average hourly wage for food manufacturing workers was about $17 in 2019. By 2025, it exceeded $22. That $5 plus difference is now embedded in every pound of processed chicken, every frozen pizza, every loaf of bread. Climate volatility forces expensive, ongoing adaptation. The western U.S. faces chronic water stress, Colorado River reservoirs at historic lows. The Midwest sees more extreme swings, droughts followed by floods. Globally, coffee, cocoa, and tropical produce suffer from El Niño/La Niña cycles. Farmers respond by drilling deeper wells, switching to drought-tolerant seeds, buying more crop insurance, and installing advanced irrigation. Every one of those adaptations costs money that never goes away. Example, California almond growers who once relied on cheap surface water now pay premium prices for groundwater or invest millions in drip systems. Those costs show up in higher nut prices at the store, year after year. What this means for real families in 2026, Alex and his wife have already changed how they shop. How Americans are adapting their lifestyles to face permanently higher grocery prices. The structural shift in food costs, driven by monetary dilution, higher energy floors, industry consolidation, sticky labor wages, and ongoing climate adaptation, has created a new reality where the typical weekly grocery basket costs 25 to 30% more than in 2019. In 2026, while inflation has slowed to a modest 2.4 to 2.5% year over year, per BLS and USDA data, the elevated baseline remains locked in. Families aren't waiting for prices to drop back. They're actively reshaping daily habits to maintain nutrition, control budgets, and preserve quality of life. Here are the most common and effective ways millions of American households are adapting in 2026. 1. Prioritizing value and trading down shoppers increasingly default to store brands and private label products, which now dominate many carts. Name brand items are reserved for deep discounts or special occasions. Example, switching from Cheerios to a comparable store brand cereal saves $2 to $3 per box without noticeable quality loss, adding up to hundreds of dollars annually. 2. Shifting protein sources to more affordable options. Premium meats like steak and salmon have been largely replaced by cheaper alternatives. Chicken thighs, eggs, ground turkey, beans, lentils, and plant-based proteins, tofu, chickpeas. Many families limit red meat to once or twice a week and build meals around eggs or beans for protein. This swap keeps nutrition high while cutting costs significantly. Eggs and legumes often cost 50 to 70% less per gram of protein than beef. 3. Embracing meal planning, batch cooking, and leftovers. Weekly meal plans based on sales flyers, seasonal produce, and pantry inventory have become standard. Families cook in batches. For example, big pots of chili, soups, or casseroles to stretch ingredients across multiple meals. Leftovers are repurposed deliberately. Roast chicken becomes sandwiches, tacos, or salads the next day. This reduces impulse buys, food waste, and frequent trips to the store. 4. Shopping smarter. Bulk, discount stores, and promotions. Costco, Aldi, Lidl, and dollar stores see heavier traffic for staples. Bulk buying, rice, oats, frozen veggies, and stockpiling sale items are routine. Many use apps for real-time price comparison, digital coupons, and loyalty rewards. Some split trips, discount chains for basics, traditional grocers only for fresh produce on sale. 5. Cooking more at home and eating out less. Restaurant and takeout spending has dropped as families redirect funds to groceries to maintain food quality. Home cooking from scratch, using affordable staples like rice, pasta, potatoes, has surged, often inspired by quick online recipes. This shift not only saves money, but also allows better control over portions and nutrition. 6. Reducing variety and accepting simpler meals. Menus are less diverse, fewer exotic imports, specialty cheeses, or out-of-season fruits. Families focus on reliable, inexpensive staples and seasonal/local produce. Kids' snacks shift from branded items to homemade versions, popcorn, fruit slices. This normalization of simpler eating patterns is becoming generational. Children today view these habits as standard. 7. Seeking assistance when needed. For lower income or fixed income households, programs like SNAP, food stamps, see increased applications. Community food banks, senior programs, and school meal extensions help bridge gaps. These adaptations aren't temporary belt-tightening, they're becoming embedded lifestyle changes. By 2026, many households report that strategic shopping and home-focused eating feel normal, not restrictive. The key mindset shift: stop fighting the higher price level and start optimizing within it. Prioritize nutrition over convenience, value over brand, and planning over impulse. In this new normal, families aren't just surviving higher costs, they're building more intentional, resilient habits around food that will likely outlast any future moderation in inflation. Acceptance and adaptation turn a structural challenge into manageable daily routines.